soft-spoken voice isn't as relaxing as some others, so I wanted to try a whisper video. Since I finished my coffee and ice cream, and this is kind of just off the cuff, I wanted to I am back with a blanket because I am cold. I wanted to read again. I just don't know what story yet, so let's find out. So last time we read, fun fact, I read The Fisherman and His Wife. I think that's the one I read. I filmed the whole video, and I was so disappointed at the ending of the story that I just scrapped it. So we are going to read okay. I have not read any of these, so we're gonna read The Three Little Men in the Wood. This is from the Grimm's fairy tales. So grab your blankets. I got this on Amazon. Very happy with it. My dad said I should get a crown because I look like I'm like a queen. Anyway, once there was a man whose wife died and a woman whose husband died. They each had a daughter. The daughter said to the man's... I already messed that up. Let's start again. Once there was a man whose wife died and a woman whose husband died. They each had a daughter. The woman said to the man's daughter, "Tell your father that I would like to marry him. If he and I marry, you will have milk every morning to wash in, and you will drink wine." Why would you wash yourself in milk? Gross. "While my own daughter will wash herself in water and drink water." Okay. The girl went home and told her father what the woman had said. The man said, "I don't know what to do. Marriage is a joy and also a torment." He could not decide. So at length he pulled off his boot and said, "Take this boot with a hole in it, hang it on a big nail and pour water into it. If it holds the water, then I will marry the woman. But if the water runs through, I won't." The girl did this, and the hole in the boot blocked up, and the boot filled. The girl told the father, who went to the woman and married her. It's as easy as that, ladies. You want to get a man? Just do that, and he has to marry you. It's the law now. I have declared it. It is the law. Anyway. The morning after the marriage, when the two girls woke up, there in front of the man's daughter was milk for her. Milk for her to wash in and wine for her to drink, as the woman had promised. In front of the woman's daughter was water to wash in and water for drinking. But on the second morning, both daughters had only water. And on the third morning, the woman's daughter had milk and wine, but the man's daughter had only water. Where is this going? The woman became bitterly unkind to her stepdaughter. She was envious because her stepdaughter was beautiful and lovable, and her own daughter was ugly and repulsive. My goodness. In winter, when everything was frozen as hard as a stone and covered with snow, the woman made a dress out of paper. She called her stepdaughter and said, "Here, put on this dress, go out into the wood and fetch me a little basket of strawberries." "Good heavens," said the girl, "strawberries don't grow in winter. The ground is frozen and snow has covered everything. And why am I to go in this paper dress? It is so cold outside. That breath freezes. The wind will blow right through the paper." "Are you daring to contradict me?" asked the stepmother. "Do not show your face again until you have a basket of strawberries." Then she gave the man's daughter a little piece of hard bread and said, "This will last you for the day." What she thought inside was, "You will die of cold and hunger, and I will never see you again." The man's daughter was obedient. She put on the paper dress and went out with the basket. Far and wide, there was nothing but snow. When she got into the wood, she saw a small house with 3 little dwarfs peeping out the windows. She knocked modestly at the door and wished them good day. They cried, "Come in." She entered the room and seated herself on a bench by the stove. I'm reading ahead a little bit just to make sure that this story isn't too crazy. Okay. Again, I have not read this, but I don't know, something about a young girl going into some random dwarf's house just makes me feel weird. Any house doesn't have to be dwarves, but just any man. I just wanted to make sure the story wasn't getting weird. Okay, she began to warm herself and eat her piece of hard bread. The dwarf said, "Can we have some too?" "Of course," she said, and gave them half. They asked, "What are you doing here in the winter forest in such a thin dress?" Excuse me. "Ah," she answered, "I'm looking for a basket of strawberries." Excuse me. "And cannot go home until I have found them." When she had eaten her bread, the dwarfs gave her a broom and said, "Sweep away the snow at the back door for us." When she'd gone outside, they said to each other, "What shall we give her? She is so good and has shared her bread with us." The first said, "My gift is that she'll grow more beautiful every day." The second said, "My gift is that every time she speaks, gold pieces will fall out of her mouth." Boy, that sounds horrible. The third said, "My gift is a king who will love and marry her." I like that one. The girl swept away the snow behind the little house, and what did she find but ripe strawberries, dark red in the white world? Joyfully she gathered her basketful, thanked the little men, and ran home to deliver the berries to her stepmother. When she went in and said hello, a piece of gold fell out of her mouth. Oh, she told what had happened to her in the wood, and with every word she spoke, gold pieces fell from her mouth. Oh no, I have a feeling where this is going, and I don't like it. Until very soon the whole room was covered with them. "Now look at her arrogance," cried the stepsister, throwing gold around. But really she was envious and wanted to seek strawberries in the forest also. Her mother said, "No, my dear daughter, you might die of cold." But her daughter still wanted to go. And at last the mother gave in. She made her own daughter a magnificent dress of fur, like myself, and gave her bread and butter and cake to take. The girl went straight to the little house in the forest. The 3 dwarfs peeped out. I wanted to get comfortable without messing with the mic. I'm sitting in a chair, and it's like all the way back here, so I'm trying to be comfortable without looking like I'm like that. Alright, where were we? Okay, she went straight to the little house in the forest. The 3 dwarfs peeped out, but she did not greet them. Without speaking to them, she barged into the room, seated herself by the stove, and began to eat her bread and butter and cake. How rude. "Give us some bread and cake," cried the little men. But the woman's daughter replied, "There's only enough for me, so I cannot give any away. I'm sorry. There's not enough bread, butter, and a whole cake." They didn't say piece of cake, they said a cake. And there's not enough to share. Okay. There's only enough for me, so I cannot give any away." When she had finished eating, the dwarf said, "Here is a broom. Please sweep the snow away from the back door for us." "Sweep for yourselves," she answered. "I am not your servant." When she saw that they were not going to make gold fall out of her mouth, she left. The little men said to each other, "What shall we give her? She is so rude and has a wicked, envious heart, and won't do a good turn for anyone else." The first said, "My gift is that she'll grow uglier every day." The second said, "My gift is that every time she speaks, a toad will spring out of her mouth." The third said, "My gift is that she will die a miserable death." Fitting. The mother's daughter looked for strawberries in the forest, but didn't find any. She went angrily home. She began to tell her mother what had happened, but whenever she spoke, a toad sprang out of her mouth to everyone's horror. Her mother became still more enraged. She thought only of how to harm her husband's daughter, whose beauty grew more remarkable every day. One day, the woman told her stepdaughter to rise, or, y'all, it says rinse, and I said rise. I'm ashamed of myself. Let's start that over. One day, the woman told her stepdaughter to rinse yarn by chopping a hole in the ice of the frozen river. The girl went out and cut the hole, but then a splendid carriage drove up. It belonged to